Hello, Dr. Tyson, Dr. Keating, 10-year-old Ruben and 6-year-old Eli here from Harrisburg, PA.
All right.
If everything was compacted into one tiny dot, smaller than a speck of dust before the Big Bang, what indeed formed the dust? What was around prior to the Big Bang? Doesn't this mean that there was another universe that collapsed to form ours? So what's the deal?
I wish that those young people would have said, I have a very simple question for you.
Yeah.
They're basically asking what caused the Big
What
Bang?
caused the Big Bang?
It caused the universe to start expanding in the first place. So the mark of a good scientist should be, we don't know. We don't know for sure.
Right.
And there are alternative...
That's what he says when he doesn't know something. It's the mark of a good scientist when he doesn't know.
That's right. And my wife sends me to the grocery
Not the
store
mark
to
of a
get some.
crappy scientist who should have known and doesn't.
Right.
Okay, go on.
Well, that's why we call it research. My PhD
No,
advisor used to
what
say,
you mean is it is not known in the
Exactly.
field.
That's
not
right.
that you don't know it,
exactly.
but perhaps you should.
We are trying to know the answer to that
We
question.
is the full community. Yeah.
Community of scientists, but specifically on the Simons Observatory. Their very question is the question the Simons Observatory is in part designed to answer. Was there any sense? Stephen Hawking used to say, it's nonsensical to ask what happened before the Big Bang because time came into
I
existence.
was going to say.
He said it's like asking what's north of the North Pole, which we all know, Santa Claus, right? There's got to be Santa Claus up there.
Yeah.
But in reality, we can answer that question in the affirmative. As you actually hinted at, there could have been a universe that existed beforehand that actually collapsed in what we used to call a big crunch. Now we call it a bounce. They're actually some of the most eminent theorists on Earth, including those that...
I never like crunch because that implies it's brittle and it makes a crackling sound.
But it's cereal revenue.
And delicious.
That's right.
Anything with the word crunch in it, it's got to be good.
Cap'n. How do they punctuate that? So the actual answer is we're trying to determine not what happened, because in science you can't prove something happened. Like you can prove 1 + 1 = 2 or 1 × 1 = 2, as you tell our mutual friend Terrence. But in reality, we can't prove a physical fact, but we can falsify alternative models. So if we see this twisting pattern of polarization called curl modes or B modes, that will falsify the other models, that there was a big crunch, that there was a previous existing universe in a cyclical model. So we can prove those wrong. And getting more data about this, if we do see it, that would be the death knell for the alternative models, and that would be a huge triumph in the history of cosmology.
Okay, so you don't know the answer. Okay, next
there
question.
we go. All right, glad we cleared that up. All right, this is...
No, but it's good. It's good to know that floating ideas do have ways of being tested.
Exactly.
Right.
And rejected.
Because some things you can just conjecture anything, literally, like thousands of theorists did, that are consistent after the fact. But the key thing is to do it before.
You want a prediction, not a post-diction.
Exactly.
Ooh, look at that.
Retro.
Good day, gentlemen. This is Matt from Oklahoma. My burning question is about the origins of the universe. What exactly are we trying to gain by looking into the past? Will it help advance the population on Earth in a technological standpoint, or is it solely for the history books?
Ooh.
Oh,
Well,
I got a feeling that Matt D has a little problem with your work.
But as polite as that was,
Yeah.
he's really questioning your existence.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, now I have to justify it to myself and the taxpayers as well. And I don't mind that. And actually, I want to ask you guys that as they step in because Matt's not here. What's your favorite day on the calendar every year?
My birthday.
Your birthday. What about you, Neil?
I like the 4 cardinal points of the calendar.
Yeah. Okay. So what are those?
The equinoxes and the solstices.
Okay.
Okay.
I
That's
have
right.
extra
Okay,
little
is
feeling.
right.
You know what? When he was like, I like the 4 cardinal points, I was like, Jesus, Neil. But then I was like, oh my God, he actually does. Because as long as I've known him, he's the only person that points those days out to you.
Right.
Like if we're texting on that day, he will point out to you. Like all those days.
I
So-
look forward to those days because that's when he's on Twitter. I know that's the only time he's going to get
yeah, that's what I am. That's correct. All right, so go ahead.
Okay. So you mentioned it, and it's related to yours. So it's your birthday. What is a birthday? What is some people say Christmas, their anniversary, the kid's birthday, whatever you want. But it's a beginning. And why do you like that? Because you have no idea from first-hand evidence what happened before you were born, do you, Chuck? You have to rely on other people's eyewitness testimony.
Well, I had video.
Oh my God, I don't want to see that.
No, he was reincarnated, so he has knowledge before.
He had his own big crunch too. So people want to know what happened before they came here. It's the ultimate in history, and that fulfills a need in us. Like, does knowing history create, some excess GDP or something? No, but it's part of being a well-rounded, educated, civilized society. And knowing the answers to the big questions is what makes us different from the animals. We're the only people. Homo sapien means one who is wise. Not one who knows, it's one who is wise. So we have wisdom, that is to ask questions that perhaps have no answer, but that's what makes us unique and different from all other species.
Okay. Listen, I think
it's my existence, Justin.
I think you defended yourself well.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
We'll give him that.